Have a full moon today. We're going to do a little full moon flow this morning. So let's start low, starting low on the ground here today. Getting yourself comfortable, wiggling in, getting your spine nice and long. And as always, taking a moment, closing your eyes, allowing yourself to go inside, to check in to see how this magnificent body is doing today. So, feeling what's going on for you in your body, and with your eyes closed, just focusing in on your breath. See if you can bring that breath all the way down into your lower abdomen. Getting nice, long, full breaths. Feeling your shoulders relaxing a little bit more. Feeling the top of your head rising up a little bit higher. Beautiful. Let's bring our hands to our heart center. So this full moon, as all full moons, it's asking us to see what has maybe been hiding in the shadows as the light of the full moon lights up all of those dark places, and taking a look at what's going on for you and what it is that you need to let go of in order to move into this next moon cycle with a little more space, a little more levity. So let's take let's take both hands and just rub them together, creating some heat in between your palms. And then we're going to take the left hand up to the moon, the right hand down to the ground. So reaching that left arm up, maybe looking up, connecting with the universe and the earth. Taking a couple of breaths here. And then we'll bring both hands back down to our heart. Give them another little rub. And then we'll send the right palm up, left palm to the earth, looking up at that right palm. As above, so below. Taking a couple of breaths here. And then we'll slide the left hand out, coming into a nice side stretch. Breathing into that space. Keeping that right hip nice and heavy. And then bringing both hands back up to the ceiling, back up to the moon, maybe looking up in between your hands. See how your neck feels this morning. And then bringing your head back to a neutral position, we'll let the right hand float back down, reaching that left arm up and over. Breathing into that space. Beautiful. Let's bring both hands back up. And we'll let the left hand come back down. We're going to sway back and forth, nice and easy, bringing both hands up, right hand down. Just imagine you're like a shaft of wheat blowing in the breeze. So the moon energy is all about being fluid, tapping into that feminine energy. So taking it easy, listening to your body, making sure it feels right for you. then bringing both arms back up to the ceiling. We're going to float the hands down in front. Just taking a moment, letting your shoulders relax, letting your head relax. Breathing all the way up the back body. And then we'll slide the hands along the floor and slowly bringing ourselves back up. Let's switch our legs, taking the opposite leg out on top or in front, reaching the arms back up and folding slowly back over your hips. Letting your hands rest down and then shoulders and head relaxing. Noticing where there might be tightness or tension. And then we'll roll ourselves back up. Let's take the left hand to the right knee, right hand behind. Nice gentle twist here. Looking over your right shoulder. And then taking your arms, let's sweep them across the front and over to the other side. Looking over your left shoulder. And then taking it back over to the other side, sweeping your hands across the front. And back over to the left. And once more back over to the right. And then coming back to center. Let's come onto our hands and knees. Getting ourselves set up into our child or our table position today. Wrists under shoulders, knees under hips, fingers wide. Let's do a few cat-cows. So as you exhale, rounding your back. Inhale, belly sinks down, head and tailbone up. And we'll just move back and forth, just 3 more times. See if you can slow down your breath, slowing down your movements. And then coming back into a neutral spine, let's curl the toes under. We're going to lift the hips into our downward facing dog. Just bending one heel and then the other. Moving back and forth, stretching out the calves and the hamstrings. And then bringing both heels down towards the mat, heels pushing out slightly, hips rising up, head in between your arms. Breathing here. And then we'll bring the knees back down to the mat. We're going to sink back into child's pose, taking a couple breaths here. And then from here, let's scoop up into a sway back cow. And then coming back into our cat, curl your toes. We'll come back into our downward facing dog. We're going to flow here, knees down, sinking into your child's pose. Inhale, coming into our sway back cow. Exhale, rounding back into that downward facing dog. Bringing the knees to the mat, hips to the heels, sinking down. Let's do 2 more like this. Coming back into our sway back cow, downward facing dog. Back to your knees and back into child's pose. And last one, let's come back into our cow, back into our downward facing dog, and just holding here. Taking a couple of breaths. Let's plant the left leg. We'll reach that right leg up to the sky. Let's bend the knee and flex. Bend and straighten that leg. See how this side feels. And then bring your right foot back down to the mat. We'll lift the left leg up and bending and straightening that leg. And then bringing that left foot back down to the mat. Let's take a nice leisurely walk up to the top of your mat. Folding back over your hips, letting your head relax down. Maybe grabbing hold of your elbows and swaying from side to side. And then coming back to center, uncrossing your hands. Let's bend the knees nice and generous and slowly bring ourselves up. Keeping your chin tucked until you're feeling stable. Letting those shoulders roll down your back and standing up in your mountain pose, standing in your power. Let's reach the arms all the way up to that moon, palms facing each other. And then just do a slight back bend here. Taking a breath or two. And then we'll come back up, bringing the palms together and back down to your heart center. Let's rub the palms together, creating that heat again. And then sending the left palm up, right palm down. Again, looking at that left palm. Breathing here. And then bring your palms back together, rubbing them again. And sending your right palm up, left palm down. Connecting with heaven and earth. And then bring your palms together. Let's sweep the hands all the way up. And palms together, slowly folding back down over your hips. Taking a moment, breathing here, letting go of any heaviness, letting go of what no longer serves you. Letting whatever that is just roll off your shoulders, roll out of the top of your head. So we're going to take the left leg and send it back, coming into a high lunge today. So keeping that left knee off the mat, sinking into your hips. We're going to plant that left hand down. We're going to take our toes towards the side of the mat to the right. So your toes are facing in the opposite direction of your left hand. And then we're going to sweep that right arm out and back over your head. Sweeping it out and over, kind of like a side plank here. So using the muscles in your arm. Beautiful. Let's do a nice big circle with that right arm. We'll bring it back down to the ground, coming back into our high lunge. And then let's bring that left foot forward, folding back over your hips, letting anything go that doesn't serve you. And we'll do the same thing on the other side. Right leg sends back, coming into our high lunge on this side. Just taking a moment to settle in, feeling how this feels for you. And then we'll plant that right hand down onto the mat. Both toes are going to face the left, and taking the left arm out and across and back down and across. Moving fluid, easy here. And then taking that arm into a nice big circle, we'll bring it all the way back down to the mat, both toes facing forward. Then we're going to walk our hands so that we are in a wide-legged forward fold. So head is facing down, both toes facing in the same direction. Feet are parallel to each other. And just letting your head hang here, maybe shaking it yes and no. Again, letting anything that no longer serves you to be released here. Maybe taking your fingers and placing them so that they're facing away from your head, giving your wrists a little stretch here. And then we'll bring the fingers forward. Let's walk over towards that right leg, bending into the right knee, maybe lifting up your left toes. A nice groin stretch here. And then we'll push ourselves back up, walking the hands back to the left side. Let's bend into the left knee, right toes come up. And then back to center. And we'll just wiggle the feet in just a couple of inches, heel toeing them in so that your heels can be on a in and your toes out on a 45-degree angle. We're going to bring the hands to the hips, coming into our goddess pose. So sitting up, sinking into those knees, making sure your knees are facing in the same direction as your toes. Let's reach the arms all the way up towards the sky. Holding here, breathing. And then sweeping your arms out in front of you, sinking a little bit deeper. Let's inhale, straightening the legs, reaching the arms up. And exhale, bending into the knees, sweeping the arms back down. Inhale, up. Exhale, sweeping them down. Moving with your breath. Nice and fluid. Beautiful. Nice. And then we'll bring our arms down, bending into the knees. Let's reach those arms out. So coming out, opening up your chest, coming into warrior, our goddess pose here, tapping into that feminine energy. Feeling those thighs warming up. Let's bring the hands down to the thighs, sliding them all the way down to the floor. And we'll wiggle the feet in a little bit more. Let's bring the hips down. We're going to come into a squat. So if your heels are off the floor, you can use your hands for support. If you can get your heels down onto the mat, fantastic. Maybe then bring your hands to your heart, using the elbows to move the knees away. So just wiggling in, finding a comfortable position here. Closing your eyes once you're there. And taking a couple breaths. Beautiful. Let's ease our way all the way down onto the mat. We'll stretch both those beautiful legs out. Give them a little wiggle, maybe flexing your feet and pointing your toes. If your back is tender today, you can have your knees bent here. We're going to do a little flow. So setting your shoulders and ears up above your hips. Taking a moment, letting those legs relax a little bit more. On your next inhale, let's reach the arms all the way up to the ceiling. And then exhale, folding forward. Not holding here, we'll slide the hands back up. Inhale and exhale, fold. Moving with your breath. And the next time you fold over, just hanging out here, letting your shoulders relax, softening your face. And then we'll slowly come back up. Let's bring both feet together. We'll come into a little butterfly pose, maybe letting those knees flutter up and down. Nice. And taking a moment to warm up your toes, give them a little massage. See if there's any tender spots you weren't aware of on your feet. And just giving those areas a little extra love today. And then we'll wrap our hands around the toes. Let's fold over, letting your nose come down towards your toes. Breathing here. And then we'll roll back up. Let's take our left hand to the right knee, right hand behind. Coming into a nice twist here, looking over your right shoulder. Spine is nice and long. Breathing all the way down into your belly. And then back to center. Let's go to the other side. Left hand on your, or right hand on your left knee, left hand behind. Looking over your left shoulder. And then coming back to center, let's bring those knees back in, wrapping your arms around your knees, maybe grabbing hold of your elbows, and just letting your head relax down, taking a moment in this very nurturing pose here, knowing that everything is as it should be. And then we'll ease our way all the way down onto the mat. Getting your spine nice and long. Hands by your side. Knees are bent. Let's take the right toes up to the ceiling, pointing and flexing that leg, that foot. And with your toes pointed, let's rotate the ankle. And then the other direction. And resting your left ankle on your right knee, or right ankle on your left knee. A little mixed up today, must be the moon. And we'll just take our hands and thread them through Bringing that left knee towards your chest if you'd like. If it's too intense, you can always keep that left foot back down on the mat. Sending your breath into any areas of tension or tightness. And then if your hands are behind your left leg, release them, bringing the left foot back down to the mat. We're going to stretch the arms out into a T shape or maybe cactus arms today, and letting your knees float down towards the right. So letting the weight of that right ankle push that left knee towards the floor. If it's too intense, you can always release your right ankle. And then maybe taking your head and looking to the left. Breathing all the way back into your belly. And letting go a little bit more with each exhale. And then releasing your right foot from your knee. Let's bring both knees and head back to center. We'll wrap our arms around the knees and just gently rocking from side to side. And then bringing your feet back down to the mat, arms resting by your side. We'll send the left foot up and starting by rotating your left ankle. And then the other direction. And flexing and pointing your toes. And then setting your left ankle on your right knee. See how this side feels for you today. Maybe threading your hands through, grabbing hold of that right knee from behind, bringing it in towards your chest. Breathing into any tight spots. And then releasing your hands, bringing your right foot back down to the floor. We'll stretch the arms back out, letting the knees float down to the left, taking your head over to the right, feeling a nice stretch across that right hip, stretching out that psoas muscle, that deep muscle that keeps us all standing upright. Breathing down into any tight spots and just letting go. And then releasing your left foot back to the floor, bringing both knees back up and your head back to center. Let's place a hand on each knee and taking those knees into a nice big circle. and then the other direction. Then we'll stretch the legs out onto the mat, reaching your arms up overhead, taking a nice big full belly breath in, letting out a sigh. We're going to come into a banana shape here. So taking your feet to the right side of your mat, maybe left foot comes over the right. And then we'll take the head and arms back over to the right top corner of your mat, coming into this banana shape, stretching out the left side body, sending your breath into any areas of tightness, coming into a crescent moon shape. Then we'll bring our head and our arms back to center. Let's release the left foot back down, bringing the right foot over. And then we'll get ready to do the other side, but first taking a nice big breath in again and letting out a sigh. Let's slide the feet over to the left, bringing that right foot on top of the left, and then bringing the head and the arms over to the left corner, creating that crescent shape on this side, breathing into the right side body. And then bring your head and your arms back to center. We'll bring our feet back to center. Let's bring the knees in for one final hug. And maybe a rock from side to side. And then letting your legs stretch out nice and long, taking up lots of space. Letting your arms rest down by your sides. Coming into Shavasana, integration pose. Giving yourself the opportunity to absorb all of those poses this morning. With your eyes closed, focusing in on your breath. Feeling your heart beating. Feeling all that wonderful life force flowing through you. Allowing yourself to soften here. Allowing yourself this opportunity to rest and digest. And while you're here, I'd like to share a poem by Zach today. It's called Clear the Clutter. Empty your mind of its belongings. All that clutter creates blocks and stagnation. Seriously, throw out the furniture, clear away the dust. Open the windows to clear out the old photographs and anxious thoughts. Let nothing weigh you down. Let go of enough to balance your attention on the end of a feather and let it float down to the open groove in your heart, lit by an ancient light, fed by a warm breeze. An unfolding grace unfurls a flower bed to lay your weary head. The architecture of oak trees around tell of a paradox. Each part exists in the whole, and the whole exists in the part. Never deny that you are anything less than divinity in disguise. Innumerable oceans, past, present, and future worlds, wrapped up into a single ballpoint pen, with a mythic and incredible story hidden in its ink. And when you're ready, make your way back up to a seated position, taking your time, sitting up nice and tall. Let's bring our hands together at our heart center, taking a collective breath in through the nose and out through the mouth. Breathing in and out. Beautiful full moon blessings to you all. Have a wonderful day. Namaste.